I was deceived by the following story. Once upon a time, there was a lady driving a pickup truck on highway, but the truck was carrying 50 penguins on the cargo bed. Eventually, an officer caught the truck and told the driver, "You cannot transport these penguins on highway. Take them to the zoo." Then she said, "Okay, I will." So she took them to the zoo. However, next day, the same lady was driving the same pickup truck on the same highway with the same 50 penguins. But on that day, somehow all of them were wearing sunglasses. The same officer called the truck and said, "I told you to take them to the zoo." Then the lady answered, "Yes, I did. And we had a blast, especially at the penguin exhibit. So today, we decided to go to the beach." If you found this story funny, when did it become funny? To me, the funny moment started when the lady said, "Today, we decided to go to the beach." So that's the punchline. So the joke became funny when the punchline was revealed, right? By hearing the punchline, our expectation about what will come in the end was totally deceived. But it was precisely this deception, ultimate misdirection of our expectation and desire, that led to the laughter. Today, I want to talk about how this models the Lotus Sutra motif of Buddhist liberation and mindfulness. In a nutshell, it goes like, to the minds of the Buddha's audience in the Lotus Sutra, hearing the final teaching of the Buddha's eternal lifetime was totally unexpected. However, it's precisely by way of these deceiving and ultimately misdirecting their expectations and desires that the experience of liberation finally comes to all of them. But what was this story, the penguin story's status, prior to the revealing of the punchline? That's an interesting question that we've got to ask. For instance, like, did you laugh at these previous moments? Until the punchline arrived, it was merely a setup. And the setup was not funny. Rather, it was serious. First, you heard the setup, and then heard the punchline. So you started with going serious, and then ended up with undergoing funny. That combination is what makes the joke funny. So this combination of serious and funny leading to laughter, it's similar to the Lotus Sutra model of skillful means and truth leading to liberation. So that is provisional teachings such as Four Noble Truths, dependent origination, etc., and final teaching of the Buddha's eternal life that leads to liberation of all sentient beings. So the relationship between the setup and the punchline is pretty interesting here. What was exactly funny? So it seems like punchline was funny, but the setup seems like serious. However, if you only heard the punchline out of no context, today we're going to the beach, without first hearing the setup, could that ever be funny? Never. Punchline will be funny only if you first seriously follow the setup. If you skip the boring previous steps, there will be no punchline. Skipping ahead Buddhist practices, there will be no mindfulness. So if you like Buddhist philosophy, punchline here demonstrates a Buddhist no-self. It can never be funny alone. It has no self. It has no funny nature or funny essence. Funny is without self-nature. Funny is emptiness. That means the funniness can only arise in relation to setup, that is, non-funniness. Only because it is not funny first, it will become funny. Funny is funny only when it's teamed up with whatever is the opposite of itself, that is serious. So in a nutshell, what's going on here is the doctrine of opening the setup to reveal the punchline. In the context of the Lotus Sutra, if you only heard the final truth from the Buddha without first hearing provisional teachings of skillful means, it never leads to liberation. If you're interested in the Lotus Sutra, what is the final truth here? That's what the Buddha reveals in the Lotus Sutra chapter 16, which is the eternal life of the Buddha. That's the final truth. This is liberating because it suggests extraordinary insight about what we normally take it to be, so-called time. Buddha's eternal lifetime implies that all moments of the past, present, and the future converge in any single moment of our experience, our everyday, our ordinary experience. If all moments are with you, you would not need to seek anything outside your given present experience of here and now. Because now you understand that what initially seems to be distanced from you, past, future, are actually always already with you throughout all of your life in this very present moment of your experience. So then that insight effortlessly lets you be always content and eternally mindful. That's the point, I think, of the eternal life of the Buddha. So what is your take on the eternal life of the Buddha? In order for us to comprehend this final truth of the Buddha's eternal life, Buddha first needed to set up skillful means by teachings for noble truths, better origination, impermanence of all things, etc., etc. If you only follow these teachings, that will lead to the punchline of the final truth. In Chinese Tiantai Buddhism, this is called opening the provisional to reveal the real. If you're interested in the topic more, you will discuss this issue in my online Buddhist discussion group called the Lotus Sutra Lab, both on June 3rd and 17th, Thursdays from 6:30 p.m. to 8:05 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you would like, please email to the address below and you'll get a Zoom link. Thanks for watching. Bye.